And just as you say that, her eyes open up with a very milky white look to them, and she's doing a very low. Looks like she's already transitioned into one of those shamblers. Just
Then I
as
will end
you.
it quickly.
Okay.
I'll take my knife and push it up through her jaw up into her skull.
Oof. Kind of. Betty kind of twitches a couple seconds and then just kind of freezes there with her eyes open and her jaw open and her mouth open. What's up, Dirtus? What is up, buddy?
Poor Miss Betty.
Well, rip and pepperonis.
Yeah, I look at it this way. She's with her son now.
Yeah, that's very true. And you know, that's the thing about Savage Worlds. All it takes is one exploding six 3 times in it, and if your toughness is not high enough, you're going down. I mean, that's just the way the game is engineered. But all right, so
That happens in the movies.
it definitely does. Look at all the people they've killed off in The Walking Dead and the Game of Thrones. Oh, Jon Snow. Oh,
Whoa, spoilers!
oh, whoa! What are you spoilers? It was like months ago.
I haven't finished the first episode yet.
Oh yeah,
Man,
yeah.
if I get people yelling at me for spoilers for the original Friday the 13th,
Right? And I just think it's funny to do things like that.
Whoa! All right, so the combat is over, and Betty's corpse is in front of the RV, and Zachary says, I do believe that we should probably give Mrs. Gunderson here a proper burial. I do believe, and Michael and Zachary go to over to the RV and pull out a couple shovels and start digging a hole. Takes several minutes to. It takes about 10 minutes or so to dig a hole deep enough for Mrs. Gunderson, and they kind of take a blanket and wrap her up in it and give her a proper burial and put her down into the hole, and Zachary says, "Well, I've never been," and everybody else comes out of the van too, except for Samantha. She's still in there. You know, the boys come out, Gregory comes out, Old Man Joe comes out. And Zachary says, "Well, I've never been one for being the preacher or leading a service. So, would anybody here like to say a few kind words about Mrs. Betty? She sure was a sweet lady. Anybody say some words about Mrs. Gunderson? Well, don't let your cat get your tongue now."
I step up to the. I guess we've covered the grave, or she's in the grave.
Sure. Yep. She's in there.
And I say, aloud so everyone hears it, at least she never became a zombie. She only lived as human. And she was like a stepmother to me. May she rest in peace.
Amen. Amen, little fam. Amen. And then Zachary and Michael start to take the shovels and start taking the dirt and putting it back into the hole.
getting all verklempt over here.
No. I like that. At least she never became a zombie, and now she's with Sam. Alright. So you guys basically had an encounter. Unfortunately, one of the party members did not make it. So, Mrs. Don't delete your character. We'll just kind of we'll let you adjust a couple things, Miss Scarlet, and you can we'll introduce you back next week.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do anything until we talk later anyway.
Okay. So as everybody gets back into the RV, you know the mood is very solemn, very grim. Really not even many words are said. You know, everybody finishes up the last of the jambalaya that Michael had cooked, and everybody has time to clean up and whatnot. You guys get all the cars put to the side of the road. So you guys are traveling those last several miles. You know, it's basically like running. Zachary and Michael are driving. You know, and it's like basically running a like an obstacle course. You know, because you know, as you guys are approaching on the main highway, the distance seen before you almost stops your breath, and it sends your heart pounding against your sternum. You know, like I had mentioned before, you guys could see fire, and the entire skyline is orange, illuminated by massive, enormous flames that reach upward from what was once a city teeming with life. There's lots of thick, dark smoke plumes in the air from dozens of buildings across the skyline. You know, all of a sudden, a boom of thunder rocks the motorhome, and a steady teeth-jarring broad, and basically, as you guys are hearing this, it's not anything hitting the RV, but as soon as you guys kind of like, what in the hell is going on, you can see that there's artillery pounding the city of Jacksonville, you know, because now you're starting to get closer, it's more illuminated, and you know, you can see tanks bombarding it, you can see artillery, you can see mortars, and basically it's the military is attacking the city. And what really has shocked you nearly breathless is as you guys are all kind of like on your knees in the seats, kind of looking out the windows, you know, there's just this wave that is moving towards the vehicle. I mean, hundreds of citizens that are fleeing the rescue station are fleeing in absolute terror. You know, they're running past, they're banging on the door, trying to, you know, get into the RV. And you know, you as you're kind of surveying around, you can see, you know, chain link fences with razor wire, you know, off on the left of the road, basically forming a perimeter for, you know, hundreds of small tents, sort of like a small little like a little tent city. You know, you can see that there are, you know, refugees that are fleeing that area also. And you can still hear this rapid fire gunshots, you know, the flashes of artillery and the explosions. So Michael stops the RV because he's just kind of in terror. You know, all these, you know, these refugees are now starting, as they start to flee the tents even more, they're slamming into the fence, pushing and clawing at the metal barrier. Some of them are getting tangled up into the razor wire, trying to climb over, you know, the fence. And now, you know, the people in the front are, you know, rammed up against the people. You know, the people in the back are now ramming up against them. And, you know, now the fence is basically the surge just kind of pushes the fence. So what do you guys, you know, as Michael says, Zachary's like, Michael, I think we better go. I think we better go. And he has to say it, you know, 2 or 3 times, you know, before, you know, Michael snaps out of it. He puts the vehicle in reverse, and, you know, the RV is moving really slow, and it's moving along with the mob, but the motorhome is surrounded by basically the, you know, dozens are, you know, beating, like I said, they're beating on the sides, you know, slamming their palms of the hands against the windows. You know, there's like dirt streak windows, blood streaks coming from the windows, beating on the doors. You know, now the RV is like stopped again, and now it's like rocking back and forth from all the bodies moving it. And then all of a sudden, you can hear massive amounts of automatic gunfire that's echoing all throughout the area that you're in. And it sounds like it's very, very close to the vehicle. And people are yelling, people are fleeing, and then all of a sudden you guys can start to see off to the right-hand side where the door is. You can see 6 soldiers that are firing their M16s up into the air, and it looks like they're running right towards the RV. And it seems like they're kind of hurting the people away from the RV. And all of a sudden, the military soldiers are saying, "Open this goddamn door! Open it!" And Michael and Zachary are like, they're beating on the door. They're soldiers. Should we let them in? This the soldiers. So Zachary says, "They're gonna shoot us, stupid, if you don't." So he takes it and he opens the door. Well, six of these armed, men come inside of the motorhome. Let me get the image of the motorhome back out. I'll share it to you guys. So they're, the door, as the door opens up, Michael hits the door. These military men start to file in. There's 6 of them, and then they start shooting because there's citizens. There's people and citizens trying to get into this, and they're literally shooting. They're not literally shooting them, but they're shooting up above their heads and whatnot. So it's scaring them and getting them away. And then, as they get the door shut, they slam it shut, and they yell for everybody to put their weapons down. Put the guns on the floor now. Stand down or we'll shoot. And as all this is happening, the RV is still rocking back and forth. And Michael and Zachary, they take the shotguns from the, Michael was holding the gun and he dropped his, and Zachary had his gun up on the dash, and he says, "We're not going to shoot, sir. We're not going to shoot."
Well, I say aloud as I start to place my gun on the floor in front of me. I said, "I don't know what wonderful ideas you have, but I'm game."
Everybody give me a notice check. Everybody give me notice checks.
In the tower? Okay.
No, just give them to me openly. Wow, nice rolls, everybody. Yeah, Misty is sort of like deer in a headlight. She's just kind of like shaken up. She's just kind of froze there. But Steve and Sam and Jax, you guys can all notice that, the soldiers are as panicked as everybody else is. But they're holding the weapons. They have the power. So, they're basically just they're telling you, "Oh my God!" It's as soon as they see everybody starting to put their guns down, they're like, "Oh my God!" It's the creatures. There's tens of thousands of them in the city. They've reached the city. They're pouring out. It's, God damn it! It's game over. And then he says, "Get us out of here!"
Man. Game
So
over.
Zachary was driving, and Michael says, "Get out of the way, stupid! I'm gonna drive us out of here. You big bucket head, get out of that seat." So he pulls Zachary over to the other side. Michael gets in there, slams it in gear, and basically, he gets it in gear. All right, now the compartment door opens up in the very back, the bedroom door, and little Samantha comes, stumbling out. So as she stumbles out, one of the military men, as a reaction, kind of just like lunges back and draws the gun, and Joe stands up and says, "Don't shoot!" And the not the officer, but the military, the army personnel, the soldier just kind of stands there and is like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, I almost shot her." He says, I everything going around, I'm sorry, I'm just on nerve right now. Gregory, his sons, they're frozen in the seat, they're not moving. And then all of a sudden, one of the kids snaps out of it and runs over towards little Timothy, runs over and helps Samantha. as she's stumbling, and they see that she's really pale, and he's like, "Is she bit?" And then the kid says, "No, we checked. She's not bit. She's just sick." And basically, the RV starts to move a little bit. No one gets shot. The military men,
Yay!
But just as everything's starting to calm down, all of a sudden, massive explosion happens. Boom! The RV is just tossed on its side. I mean, just rolls a couple times. I mean, shit comes out of every compartment. Water's everywhere now. The commode, there's shit toppled everywhere, and everybody's like kind of, whoa. Gathering their senses, I'm going to give everybody 46 damage. Seriously. Everybody takes 12 damage, so let's see. If everybody takes 12 damage,
That's 3 raises on me, I think.
that means, let's see. No, it would only
Yep.
be...
Oh,
It-
toughness. Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be wounds. It's going to be on fatigue. So everybody's going to have. Let's see. Let's see,
Is it on toughness?
It's based off of toughness. Yes.
Okay,
So it
I
would
got
be-
the raise then.
I opened up Betty's sheet. Oops. Sorry, Betty. That sucks, man. All right. So you have a toughness of 5. You would have a fatigue. Jax, Misty, you have a parry, a toughness of 5. You would be fatigued of 1. Sam, you have a toughness. You would have a fatigue. Thank you. And last but not least, Steve, you would be fatigued with 1 also. So you guys are all fatigued now. Fatigue gives you basically a -1 to all rolls, and you can get back 1 fatigue in like 24 hours of recovery time. So everybody's got a fatigue on them now. So, everybody is basically jarred. There's water coming out. You can, water, plates, everything, supplies strewn everywhere throughout the entire RV. Everybody's kind of knocked around, cut up, and bruised. Anyone? Anyone there? Everybody dead or
I
what?
take it the
You cut out. I didn't
RV
know.
is
Oh.
undrivable now. It's on its side.
Yeah, it's twisted up pretty bad.
How far away did we get from the crowd of people that was trying to knock us over?
Not very far. Not very far at all. Not very
I
far
look to
at all.
the soldier guys and I ask them, "What now?"
Since
Since you seem to be wanting to be in charge.
they're you can see there's like like the front end of a Humvee, like another military vehicle that's kind of twisted up on the side, kind of punctured its way through a little bit of the the thin aluminum and metal frame of the RV that you're in. And the soldiers come to and says, "We got to get out of here." One of them says, "I think I smell gas." So you guys have time to get all of your personal belongings and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't care about the soldiers anymore. I take my guns and start packing them up in my bag.
Okay.
I'm
Alright.
going to gather Betty's stuff as well, and
Okay.
keep it all together.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pack up my stuff and I'm gonna kick out the front windshield and try to get out that way.
Okay.
Yep, I'll help.
See you, Shane. Thanks for stopping
I'm
by.
gonna pick up my stuff and see if there's any first aid kits or anything nearby that I can grab and take with me, and
Sure.
I'm gonna see if they need me to take the little girl with me since he's got his 2 boys.
Yeah, she's pretty rough right now. Joe said he will go ahead and he'll do what he can and try to carry little Samantha. but she's been cut up pretty bad too. So, thanks, Runs. Thanks, Runs. I appreciate it, buddy.
After I get all my supplies, I'm going to what are the soldiers doing at this point? Are
Oh,
they just standing around, or?
No, they're picking themselves off of the floor. One of the soldiers is actually not even moving, and you can see that he actually impaled himself with the front of his gun that had a bayonet on it. You know, his Rambo survival knife was
I wanna
actually
check his
attached.
pulse.
He is dead. Well, he's got a very, very, very light pulse. And a couple of the other soldiers, as you're checking his pulse, they come over and take his M16, sling it up on their shoulder, and start to take the ammunition out of his packs. It's like they're already there. It's like they're writing him off for dead. And then these guys are kind of beat up pretty bad too, but they climb out of the broken. The broken door that's facing towards the sky now, and they climb out.
Oh, I told him, wait, you can't leave him like this. Finish him off.
Well, he's all right. So he turns around. He says, "Turn your head, little girl." A little boy, and he pulls out. You hear a sort of like a flap as you turn around. I don't know if you're turning around and watching, but he pulls a handgun out and puts it to his head and takes him out.
Yeah, don't turn. And I say thank you.
So he puts the gun back in his holster, 9mm, and then starts to climb out with the other soldiers. And then as the last soldier climbs out, he kind of extends his hand down into the RV and says, "Hurry up, we got to get out of here. This thing's on fire."
All right,
So-
I'm climbing out.
Joe, yeah, everybody's
Yeah, moving out.
Joe's getting out. Gregory, his two sons, handing the kids out, handing Samantha out, and the soldiers they help get everyone out of the RV, and you get out. I mean, it's not like in a movie in the nick of time where all of a sudden the last person's out 10 feet
It
away and then
explodes.
oh yeah, it's not like that. No, over the course of several minutes, as you guys are kind of on your knees and gathering your breaths. I mean, hell, you guys just tumbled in an RV, and there's a couple more military soldiers that are getting out of this Humvee also. And they're asking if everyone is okay, and there's a couple dead in the Humvee. Actually, one guy's kind of was actually thrown from the vehicle and hit a tree, and another guy basically up through the windshield. Not a pretty sight. Really grotesque. But everybody's okay. So everybody, you guys got to get off the road a little bit. People are still rushing by from the scene, and it's not like you're right up there on Jacksonville. You actually kind of got off on the off ramp, sort of like the bypass around Jacksonville. So there's really not the traffic as the hundreds, if not thousands, were fleeing from the town itself. So you guys have a couple minutes. You guys are kind of cleaning up your wounds a little bit and whatnot.
I'm looking for any other viable vehicles or anything like that while they're doing whatever they're doing.
Not here. There are vehicles, but sort of like the other area where you encountered the shamblers. These cars are all twisted up. A lot of it's basically bumper to bumper, and it's just no cars are maneuverable even off the side of the road because it's such a steep off of the road. It's the ground is soggy, is moist and whatnot. So you just right now it doesn't look like you're able to get any kind of car to maneuver between the traffic jam that's basically on the overpass.
Where are the people at?
There's a few people trickling by, but not many. Not like as you were at the entrance
Okay.
to Jacksonville. No. So a couple of the soldiers say after we've got to get into the woods. We've got to get out of this open area. There's just too many people around, and you can see one of these guys actually has a radio pack. And he's got one of the other soldiers trying to hook up an antenna. It's like we've got to try to. You guys can do what you're going to do, but we are going to get off this road. We've got to get off this road.
Yeah, I say we get into the woods.
Finally.
Yeah, try to
Someone's
follow
thinking
these.
smart. Let's get in the woods. This is where I want to be.
All right. So you guys are kind of watching. No one else follows you. Everybody else is. The few people that are running down this portion, you can see some. One guy. He gets into a sort of like a raised up truck. He's trying to run trucks and off the road, and he can't do it. So he gets out and he, just keeps walking on foot. So as you guys get to the woods, you guys are getting
question.
off. Sure, absolutely.
Sorry.
No
How
problem.
many total soldier guys are there with us now?
We'll say there's a half a dozen of them.
Okay.
Two from the Humvee that hit, and then 4 from. There were 5, but there's the one that died in the RV. So there's 4 plus 2 from the Hummer, for a total
Darn.
of 6. So as you guys are, and they're all heavily armed. One of them has the radio. He's calling and calling and calling. Doesn't seem like he's getting any kind of response or answer yet. So as you guys are moving, and all of a sudden you climb up a sort of like a rise or a short hill, and as you just ascend over the crest of the hill, you can look down and see this massive distribution warehouse, and it says Winn-Dixie, North Carolina warehouse. And you can see that there's a massive parking lot, fenced in, semi trucks everywhere that are nice and neatly organized. Looks like it's just a day off from work, and there's semis everywhere, a nice open parking place. Doesn't look like the fence has been broke down, but you see a massive sign that says Winn-Dixie Warehouse, North Carolina Division.
So it's like a distribution center.
Yeah, it's a huge warehouse. This thing is probably 2 million square feet. This thing is massive.
It looks like it's a straight shot there, nothing between us and it.
Just the fence.
Yeah, you see no shamblers, nothing like that.
I say we head that way and try to break in there and see if there's any supplies we can get, and then maybe get one of these tractor trailers and use that to get out of here.
What
Yeah.
does it look like the soldiers are doing, Dave?
Oh, they're just as surprised as you. Especially with the sight of no shamblers, and you can see one of the military men actually takes some what appears to be like a pair of binoculars, and he's looking I see no shamblers down there. I see none at all. And this is early morning, so the sun's starting to come up now. So
Alright, well,
I see no
Sam
shamblers.
Sam's thinking survival. So, knowing that these guys have all the gear and the technology and the weapons, I'm going to follow them. And if something happens to them, then that gear will become mine.
No, I agree.
Otherwise, in the meantime, they can provide an extra protection for the group. So I'm going to stick with them.
Okay, sounds good. So as you guys start to make your way down towards the fence, all of a sudden you can see, as you're kind of looking back, you can see more of these survivors starting to run towards the fence as well. Not a lot. It's not like the horde of thousands of people like that were fleeing Jacksonville, but there's probably 20 to 40 survivors that are running. So you get to this this beautiful gated entrance, and there's like a guard office there, and well, not like a guard office, but sort of like a distribution office, and there's no power, but there are locks that are on the gate. You can see there's a couple really big chains that have been thrown around the warehouse, and this place looks to be untouched. So anybody says anybody here got lock clips or anything? Anybody got any bolt cutters or we'll get this chain off, or anybody pick the lock?
I have a. I can.
Or
I
we
can
can
make
just
locks
blow it off.
without.
I don't want to. He says I don't want to attract these things. So if anybody can pick this lock, we need to get inside this place.
All right, I have some. What did I have? Yeah, the paper clips. That's paper clips and tacks and stuff. I will
Sure.
attempt to pick the lock.
Okay, that sounds good. I like that. So
I'm
go
gonna
ahead and do a.
Take a second to fashion and bend and twist the little things around so that I have a good set of tools.
Do you have lock picking?
I do.
Yeah, you've done this before, Sam. At your young, ripe age of 10 or 13, whatever you are.
13. That's what we're going to say.
It's all those cars that you broke into back in Georgia.
It's actually a good skill. I don't know if I'm talking to someone, but I let the people know that as I'm doing it, if they're looking at me strange,
Hmm.
that it's a good skill to have in survival that helps you get past locked gates and doors and that sort of things. Crowbar's good if you can't pick the lock, of course.
A couple of
So-
the soldiers just chuckle at you as you're saying this. Yeah. Get the damn door open, kid. That's so
All right,
good.
there's my roll.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it was just like a basic, cheap, lock, probably sold by Winn-Dixie. It wasn't no master lock or anything like that. So you get this thing popped open, and you slide the gate to the side. The soldiers start ushering all these people in, and they're counting them as they go in. 1 male, two female, 3, 4, 5, and they're counting everybody. Male and female. And the last person trickles in, and there's a total of, a couple soldiers actually leave. 2 of the soldiers say that they're going to head back to Jacksonville and look for any more surviving military personnel, but they're going to try to come back later. But and the soldiers are like, don't bring any more people here. This is enough. We don't want this place even, found. And he goes, we've got you. He goes, I'm your ranking officer here. You need to, that's an order. He says we'll only bring back military personnel. So two of the military men leave. So you're down to the 4 that were in the RV with you, and a total of 40 survivors. And you guys are now, trying checking all the doors, all the loading dock doors, and basically you get another door picked. You get into like one of the side office doors. You get inside. Everything's actually pretty nice and cool inside there, because of all of the dry ice pallets that were everywhere in the warehouse. So it is a little. I want to say there's sort of like an aroma that kind of, kind of like an aroma at first, but you get a couple doors opened up, and within a couple minutes, all of that stuff just kind of whisk out. But it is kind of cool. But as you get to the main warehouse, holy cow, there are pallets and pallets and pallets of cereal, canned goods, toilet papers, everyday commodities that you just take for granted, and they're just everywhere. And this is
I'll be right
basically
back, Dave.
no problem, Misty. And this is basically the main distribution for the North Carolina Winn-Dixie grocery stores.
My butt is going to be so happy.
Right?
Oh, they had suppositories also?
I'm sure there's probably cases of them somewhere, probably with the medical stuff. There's everybody is basically in the main warehouse area. And let me give you another the map of the warehouse, but this is magnified to where it's huge, you know, and there's
Right.
docking bays all along, you know, the north wall, the western wall. There's a huge building inside, probably, you know, where all of the you know, dispatch is, and you know, and the management, probably where the buyers have their offices and all that good stuff. There's actually some coolers and freezers also, and it still looks like you know, the freezers aren't frozen, but it's still pretty cold. The refrigerators look like they're a little iffy. But you know, a couple of the other people, they go inside there and say, "Oh my God, cold milk!" And like people are bringing out like gallons of milk, and you know, bringing out ice cream and eating all that stuff. And the soldiers are like, "Close those doors!" You know, so they, you know, doors get closed back up, and man, now everybody's kind of just like kind of relaxing, kind of, you know, taking, you know, dragging chairs out of the big office building there inside. The recliners, the sofas, and everybody's just kind of congregating in their little inner circles, you know.
I speak up, and I tell a few people that, no, this looks like a safe haven, but we could be overrun by zombies any minute. If anyone wants to help me go through these boxes, we're going to look
13-year-old,
for food
love it.
and medicine, and start refilling our backpacks so that we're ready at a moment's notice in case something happens.
No, there are plenty of,
Once we're prepared, then we can rest.
yeah, there's plenty of pallets of everything everywhere. Cereals, I mean, rices, canned goods, cases of water, cases of, I mean, toilet paper, the toiletries, paper towels, I mean, everything would be in a grocery store. You know, just tons of stuff. Stationary stuff. You know, deodorants. I mean, everything under the sun is here. And you know, the best thing about this is this has been unaffected by what has happened within the last couple weeks. Very luckily, you know, has not been affected.
Yeah, kind of hard to believe, just in reality. This thing being this close to a town and not even being pillaged yet.
Well, you know, one of
But
the,
I'll roll with it.
yeah, hey, why not? One of the, you know, soldiers introduces himself as Corporal James Hauser, you know, and asks everyone who has weapons to please put the safeties on. We don't want any gunshots happening. We want to keep this place, you know, quiet. A couple of the soldiers are still trying a radio, you know, trying to get someone on the other end, you know, trying, you know, you can hear that you know, they've got the little speaker sitting on the pack, you know, and all of the channels that they're trying are basically all nothing but static. You know, and you can see Timothy, one of the little boys, takes Samantha into one of the, you know, one of the little smaller offices, and basically gets her onto, you know, basically a one of those little small sofas in there. You know, just trying to keep her away from everyone. They don't want to cause any kind of, you know, any kind of ruckus. So Corporal Hauser does come over to the group and asks, you know, Misty and Jax and Steve, you know, and also looks at you, Sam, and says, "Wow, you really did a great job. The military could use a young man like yourself at one point in time, but you know, things are different now. We don't know what's going on." So you know, he said, once again, he introduces himself and asks you if that girl is okay.
Yeah, she seems to be all right. People, there was a scare that she may have been bitten, but we looked her over and she's, you know, just she's sick. We're not sure what it is yet.
Yeah, and he kind of takes you behind a couple pallets of the cereal and whatnot, and this is where he's talking to you, because you know he's got the other, you know, as he's, you know, telling you guys to come over this way, he's telling the other soldiers to try to start getting names and ages and who's with who and whatnot, to try to compile a list of everybody of who they have of these survivors.
So what was going on? You know, the it looks like you're shelling Jacksonville there.
He says it's not only Jacksonville, but it's basically everywhere. Martial law has been declared just in every major city, and law enforcement, emergency services have all been federalized now, and we just, how times are these days, the military just wasn't prepared to take on most of our own nation. There's just no way we had enough troops, especially when the early estimates were in the infected at 80 million within the first 48 hours of the problem becoming known. And then he says, how in the hell are you supposed to coordinate against anything to handle anything like that? Especially with the majority packed into cities, and then the government tells them to come to the major cities. I mean, the entire armed forces combined, all branches of the military, doesn't have anywhere near the facilities, the resources, the people to even handle any number near that amount. Take Jacksonville, for instance. Goddamn Jacksonville. Population of 81,000 people. We quarantined it early on, the city. I mean, within the first 24 hours. We erected barriers around the camps of infected, the non-infected. We knew it would be a matter of time before it was just everything was going to be breached. We just didn't think it was going to be this soon. We were trying to get more throwers, more artillery here, so we could basically destroy the camps from range. But they just didn't get here in time, and we lost Jacksonville. We even heard that Washington's a war zone. All of the government, or what remains of the government, has now been flown to Colorado. They said that they were going to set up operations in the Rocky Mountains. We have no clue. There's a citizen relocation zone in the Midwest. We were never, instructed on where to go or who to tell or whatnot. We have no clue. We're in the dark now. Almost as much as you. Our support was our regiment. We were assigned to Raleigh. And that's who we're trying to contact now. We've lost contact with them several hours ago, and we haven't been able to contact them since. So that's just about everything that I know that I can tell you. What about you guys? Are you from around Raleigh?
Oh, was he talking to all of us, or I thought he just had someone pulled off to the side?
No, he was talking to all of you guys. No, he like I said, he pulled you guys back to a secluded area behind some pallets of like Frankenberry cereal and Cocoa Crisp and stuff.
Let's say, I'm Sam. I'm from Georgia. I've walked up this far, looking hopefully to see if it has not spread as far north, but it seems or from what I found out, it's taken over the whole world.
Mm.
I'm from Charlotte, and we heard on the radio that we should head towards Jacksonville, and it might be a safe place, but it turns out that doesn't appear to be correct anymore.
Mm. Nope. We lost Jacksonville.
What's next?
Yeah, it looks like we have a lot of people we have to deal with now also. I mean, we have a lot of refugees here. We need to keep them here. We can't let this location be known. I mean, I'm surprised that this place has been untouched. I'm surprised this place hasn't been turned upside down 5 ways to Sundays.
Dave, since we're with military now, I think Sam has some questions.
Sure.
But he's got to act like he's not that immature.
Hmm.
So, let me see. Sam says, when I was walking past Atlanta, I remember them saying something about a CDC. Do you have any word from them?
Are you talking about the containment agency? Sort
The
of like
Centers for Disease Control?
yes.
This sounds like something they'd be interested in.
We have gotten no word. I know that there was one in Atlanta, and I know that there are several among the other. I think there's one out Midwest and one up north, I think around the New Jersey area, and we haven't heard anything about it. We haven't heard anything from them. You know, within the first 24, 48 hours, the president had got on with a representative from the CDC. They said that they were working on some type of control or vaccination for it, but after then, you know, mainstream radio, the internet started failing, so all of our servers were dying. And now we're having a problem with this radio now the last couple hours, so we just haven't heard anything either. We're kind of in the dark on a lot of things also.
Well, was there anything like they say in the movies, zero patient or a place of origin? Do we know where it came from?
That we don't know. It just sort of started happening all around the world at the same time. We don't know if it was a terrorist attack. I don't think it would be a terrorist attack. We just don't know what it is. If it's just our time to go as a species, we just don't know.
So you're having problems with your radio, or was it like not working, or was it? I mean, you're just not getting any response from people.
I just hear that he's doing his calls. All I hear is a bunch of static. You can hear a couple other people, asking questions also. Asking about, I've got friends and family. I want to get my friends and loved ones over here, and the soldiers are saying no. We need to assess what we have right now, and then we'll discuss things later.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Talking to the soldier that you were just talking to again. Yeah.
Yeah. In your camp, were there any of the people pregnant? Did anyone have any babies?
Not that I know of. I know that there were some pregnant women. Yes, there were quite a few of them. There were probably 100 or so pregnant women.
But you don't know of anyone ever having any children?
Not offhand, no.
Well, we experienced someone having a birth, and the baby came out a zombie. So I don't know if that's going to be.
She
a guaranteed
gave
thing
birth
or
to
not.
one of those things?
Yes.
Are you
we
kidding
were with
me?
another group of people, and they gave birth to a zombie baby.
Oh my God.
So I don't know if that's part of the disease or this infection or not, or if that's a guaranteed thing, but if it might mean the end of the human race if that's the case.
The shit has definitely hit the fan. That is for sure. Alright, so let's go ahead and we will call it here for the night.